here with Leprous after a fantastic show. Really was so enjoyable, you know what I mean. I first saw you guys a couple of weeks ago at Euroblast, and I had just had to do a feature on you guys, you know, because just your performance there just affected me.
Thank you.
Such a lot.
Of course.
Unlike a lot of other bands at the moment, you guys write collectively. Is that correct?
Yeah. Especially especially in the past, we're just making a new album now, and we tried a bit different approach, but still we meet up at least and start to. But in the newest things, he has been the far biggest contributor on. But so the things you've heard so far has been
collectively written. When you are writing, is your focus on how it will sound live or how it's going to come across on the record?
We don't focus that much on any of those things. Actually, we just let the creativity flow, and then we'll take the problems with how to do it live later. Anyway, so I guess you can say record in a way. Yeah, because the goal is to make the record as good as possible, and then we don't care how we will do it live. We'll just fix that later.
And I think also that's maybe has changed a bit, because previously when we made everything very like in a live setting on rehearsal, then we tried to make so when we recorded it, it was something that we could definitely play live. But then we realized that if we find some elements that would give it something special when we record it, then of course we will do that. And then we just say, whenever one of us say, but how will we do this live? We're just like, okay, we'll see that we don't have the live aspect barrier when we're making the music.
In worst case, we won't play this on live.
Yeah. Actually, because I guess
it's like you cannot stop your creativity.
Yeah. Because in the studio, the creativity doesn't have many boundaries, but of course some boundaries when we're playing it live. But then now in the later years, we've managed to also incorporate things that would have been different before. So the answer is no. We don't necessarily. We differentiate between the studio things and the live things in the way that and also when we play things live, we might change some things that we thought was cool in the studio, but when we play it live, it's cooler to do it this way. We don't necessarily copy the studio version of things.
Absolutely. I really love the theatricality of the live performance. Because that's what drew me in. Because at Euroblast, I had an interview with another band, Destiny and Potato, and I was supposed to go.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'll watch one song of Leprous, and it was like. And I was like, I can't leave. And I stayed like 25 minutes and then had to run. Okay. You know what I mean? But like, what is when do you think about this consciously? Is it a conscious act to be that theatrical, to give it?
We've been there was, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 5 years ago approximately, we had seen some videos of us performing, and we're just like, is it really that boring to watch?
Yeah.
and we thought that we need to do something about it, because in a way, for me, a live performance is a live performance, and there is no point for me to just stand there and play it absolutely perfectly and do absolutely nothing, because then you could just put on the album in a way and you wouldn't. So when we saw that, we tried some different approaches to how to do it, and we went to this kind of local youth club where we could borrow a stage, and then we were filming ourselves, and we thought, okay, let's now be really cool, and then watch it again. It's like, this is nothing still. And the thing is that when you are on stage, if you want people to notice it, you have to exaggerate a lot, or else it's like what actors do on theaters and everything. You need to do things very much. Like when you headbang, it's not enough to do it. You have to go completely down and everything. And then we tried. Okay, let's just do as much as possible, just even though it feels completely ridiculous. And
because
stupid.
the first thing we were talking about was just, we were starting like, okay, on this song, maybe can't you do this and then I'll do this, and just trying to making a choreography, and then we realized this is impossible because, and then as he says, we just, okay, let's everyone just do whatever, I mean, as much as possible, and I mean, even though it's really ridiculous, no one will laugh afterwards.
Yeah, and even though
no audience, I mean, only us just filming, try to do as much as possible.
And then yeah, of course we didn't manage to play things properly at all.
No matter what it sounds like, just try to move around and just see what it looks like.
So that's what we did, and then we watched it after.
Yeah,
much cooler.
So we found out that, I mean, the scale between playing perfectly, standing completely still, and then being idiots and doing whatever, and then playing horrible, and then we found, I mean, the balance between, I mean, the live thing isn't just about hearing exactly the same as the album, it's like also the visual thing.
You have to feel the energy.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that we don't like have any choreographies. I mean, of course, after playing very many times, we have some
things that we tend to repeat.
Yeah, but not like, hey, you're not doing this, you're not doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all free to just do whatever we want, but I mean, after a while, we've just managed to. So for me, it feels just completely natural to do that now. I mean, also it's like the same as when if you have a photo shoot, and I mean, to get a picture that looks natural, you have to have extreme amounts of lights and everything very unnatural for it to actually look just natural. And as he said, when you're standing on stage, I mean, I remember when we were just starting, I was thinking that I was like, yeah, I mean, it was so cool. And when I watched myself, it was like, it was like this, because it was just moving a bit and then feeling the rhythm. But I mean, no one else noticed except yourself. You were thinking that, yeah, okay, this is really cool. So I mean, you really have to exaggerate to actually.
We actually had to. We had some session musicians once in a while, like guitar players, when sometimes it's like other obligations for some people. And then we have to like teach them the Leprous style in a way, and because it looks very stupid if like 4 out of 5 is completely into it and one last is
I remember.
And then they thought like, okay, we're doing a rehearsal every single time with the full show in the rehearsal room.
It seems so stupid.
But
it removes some barriers.
Yeah,
I remember like audition.
Yeah, and the thing was that he started like, okay, now he thought he's gonna really do it, and he's just no, forget about it. It's not enough to do this with the head. It gives absolutely no effect to stand like this with the head. You need to like.
And also, I mean,
you need to hit the floor.
Yeah, the thing, I mean, it's not just the visual thing, but it's also the way. I mean, to make it feel natural, you have to, I mean, do it with your entire body to actually make it feel. I mean, you can't just like, or like making a helicopter move. It looks so statical, but you just have to. You have to include your entire. Your entire thing.
That was the thing about our.
Yeah.
Theater.
Yeah.
So, do you have any particular way that you prepare for a show? The last sort of hour leading up to a show, is there any sort of?
Well, this tour, it's not been that many preparations because it's like we've done this package for a long time now, actually, and we've done I don't know how many shows with approximately this package. So we didn't need that many rehearsals. But when we started out, we had just changed 2 members of the band, so we had tons of rehearsals, like just rehearsing.
But you were asking like the hours before we go on stage.
Yes, that last day, the day of the show, like coming up to go on stage.
That very much depends on the day. I mean, today we didn't have any chance to prepare at all, almost, because we had just been traveling, and then we were delayed because of some things, and then suddenly we weren't allowed to enter this place, and then there were some technical issues, and then suddenly, okay, we're playing in 45 minutes.
Yeah, on the itinerary it was written that it was 12, but there has been some miscommunication. Yeah. So the local study was 3. Yeah. So in a way, it suddenly was
down, but then I mean up until then we were just carrying merch and removing and yeah. So I think we're able to manage the most kinds of situations, but of course it's best to like have a quiet place. I mean, a place like this would be.
If I have to be honest, I haven't given thought about any of the songs today.
No, that was not, yeah. I had to have like this run through. Okay, how was this chorus again? With me and the other guitars. Okay, yeah, it's like.
Yeah, but it's so much in the fingers and everywhere now. And when we're on stage, feel the audience, suddenly we're in the zone. So.
But of course, we also get affected by the audience. I mean, you can prepare as much as you want. I mean, warming up or something. And sometimes I try to warm up my voice and it's horrible, and other times I haven't warmed up at all and it's very good, in my opinion. And then, so I mean, I'm not actually sure what's the best way to do it.
It's the best thing is to regarding the voice is to warm up before and then take it a bit easy in the beginning of the set. That's what I found out, because before I used to like give everything from the beginning absolutely and like really much, and so it's the audience don't hear the difference if you like sing with much louder, or if you sing a bit like lower in volume, or if you just calm it a bit down afterwards, and then you can gradually increase the intensity.
And the thing is that when the audience gets used to the intensity, it's boring if it gets down. I mean, it's better if it starts there.
But just for the voice to work, because I struggle a lot with my voice on previous tours, because it's that Hva får jeg igjen? Okay, I was just it's just like some singing techniques that doesn't mix that well, like for the screaming and the like very soft falsettos. Like usually the screaming destroys. So when I try to have a soft falsetto, sometimes this is the only voice I have. I get nothing. Like, so for example, the very mellow song, The Cloak, on many shows before I just had to cut it. But I found a way now finally to like.
The thing for me is actually because he is a singing teacher, so he knows the theory of and also of course the practical thing about it. But for me, it actually the important thing for me is that if I have been talking very much earlier in the day, my voice so my voice gets very tired. So as you can hear now, it's like cracking a bit, and then it's no matter how much I warm up, it doesn't work.
How was it today?
It was okay. Actually.
Yeah, but that's because you've been very tired today, so you didn't speak that much.
Yeah. Because the thing is, if I just don't speak that much and don't warm up at all, then it works very well for me. So it's very strange. So I mean, it's not just everyone has to find their own like kind of way to prepare for the show. But
you want to have a 30 minutes answer for every question? Try to shorten it a bit down.
No, that'll be fine. I don't mind.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
But I'm thinking maybe you want to go and see Haken or something.
No, I'm good.
I've actually never seen that, but so I was thinking.
I think you've got about.
The thing is that we will have like 8 more chances to see that, so I think it's okay.
Okay, like Lars, your manager, said you were doing a video.
Yeah.
Filming a video. Has that been happening while you've been in?
I didn't get the question.
Have you been filming a video?
Now?
Yeah, well, recently, because like I was told by Lars that have to do an interview in the afternoon because there was you were filming a video and
like a music video.
No,
I can't remember it at least.
Well, come to think of it, I think I saw a mail of something about the blog.
Yeah, but that's not a video.
Okay,
right.
Actually, I'm not sure. No,
okay,
we haven't made any music video.
Maybe that's a misunderstanding.
No, probably not.
But I mean, we are doing a recording soon, and then after that we will make some.
Okay.
So I mean,
so the new album is in the writing stages, or is it?
We'll start recording in when we get back home.
It's more or less like finished with the ideas, and then we will have some. We will have some musical liberty in the studio to just do some variations or some changes. Yeah,
sure.
But we
first and then the words come afterwards, or you know?
Most often. And on the previous album, he wrote almost all of the lyrics, and I wrote just one. I have a very this is my self-confidence for lyrics, and this is for writing the music. So it's like very big difference. So I struggle a lot with that.
It's usually been like on rehearsals when we're playing the songs, he's trying, and then it's just some words. And of course we
blabbering out.
Yeah, and we usually make a bit fun of him because suddenly we hear some words it doesn't make sense at all. But it's just fun.
It's just to have the words instead of la 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 la.
Yeah,
so it's just like.
And then when especially before when I've been writing lyrics, I've been writing them mostly without thinking of which song it will be to. And then we will try to first of all find which lyric will fit to this song, both in how long it is and the rhythm, and also a bit like the mood. If it's like the mood. So that's the thing we will wrap up before we go into studio now. That's the last thing that we have.
But anyway, the lyrics doesn't have to be finished before the vocal recording, and that's one of the last things. So still have some time to finish it.
Yes. So I'm always very interested in the lyrics that, although your English is absolutely incredible,
that's exaggeration.
The poetry that a non-native speaker of English can create is unique. You know what I mean?
I guess it must seem a bit odd to some of the things when you don't some ways to put together the words that you would never use yourself.
Exactly.
And it creates a sort of unique poetry that a native speaker such as myself could not do.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I think I understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I find it so fascinating, bands like yourself and bands like Agent Fresco, obviously from Iceland. Do you know what I mean? Obviously your English is very good. What age sort of did you start learning English?
In Norway, first of all, we start to learn English in elementary school very early. I think maybe even earlier now than when it was second or third grade or something. When you're 8.
Now it's almost immediate.
Yeah, I think so. When you're 6, you start. And then also, we don't dub anything. Maybe some cartoons or something for kids, but still we watch a lot of English movies and series and everything. So, and after been traveling around Europe, especially for quite some time now, it's very easy to guess. This country dubs because they're horrible at English. And then suddenly Slovenia, it was very good English. And then we're at a hotel and everything was in English. It wasn't done. So it's a very easy thing to see. But the thing is that I actually find it a bit funny that sometimes to get an idea for some lyrics for a poem or whatever you will call it. Sometimes it's just a phrase that gets in my mind, or a word or something that I think, this would actually be a very cool thing to use in a song. I've never heard this used before. And actually, since I'm working as a physiotherapist, so I have a lot of anatomy and diseases and things like that, which I've actually read in English literature. And I think a lot of the things has actually come from that. I've used this word bank that not that many else has used.
Only carcass.
For example, bilateral. It's from when you're talking about you have a unilateral pain or you have a bilateral pain, and then just using this word in another context because it actually means something. It means both sides to whatever, and then use it in something else. But I think it's actually a bit funny because that can actually inspire me to write something just by actually knowing something that's not that usual. So I think that's also a reason why.
Before I used to be so much more nervous when I was speaking in between. Well, not that I'm speaking very much in between the songs, but before when I was in English-speaking countries, just oh no. when it's in Romania, I know more.
No one will ever know if you say that.
No matter what I say. example, is quite horrible. Yeah, regarding English.
So the music on the new album, is it like the same sort of progression on like Cole was?
It's quite. I would say it's quite different in some ways, but it's more similar to Cole than to Bilateral. Yeah. It's how to say. It's very hard to describe it at this stage because everything is just MIDI. So
I mean, we've been playing it on rehearsals, but still, I mean, our main impression is the I mean the themes and the sounds has been
really how to say one of the main things there is that there is like each section has like quite in a way, I don't know, it's quite recognizable character in a way. It's like with, for example, a riff that it's quite repetitive but a bit strange. Like all the riffs are very strange because they're programmed on the computer mostly. All the new riffs, and they're very strange to play for the guitar.
It's impossible to play. Sometimes it's like,
so it's like that's maybe the biggest difference, that maybe 98% of the album is just written only on the computer, because I had just enough of the piano for a while. I don't know, I lost my creativity there, just doing the same things all over again.
It's easy to go into the same ways
so
as before.
By writing on the computer, I could use my ear in a way more actively, just moving things up and down and just trying different things. And I think it's going to be maybe an even more characteristic album. Actually, I think it will be the most characteristic so far. Like because of that reason, actually, because it's written very like differently. But still, it's quite mellow in mostly. It's like quite mellow. Maybe not mellow. No, not mellow. It's not what I meant. It's quite melancholic. That's what I meant. Sorry, it's not very mellow. It's quite.
I think it will be
in some ways.
I think it will be pretty catchy also.
Yeah, it will be more maybe more catchy than Cole. Yeah. We have a lot of quite like catchy choruses on that.
What sort of time frame are you sort of looking to?
You mean for the release?
For the release,
just for
I mean, sometime next year. That's
not too late next year.
Yeah. So in time for sort of summer maybe, or something.
That would be the ideal.
And I mean, something is when we will finish it, and something is, first of all, how long it takes to actually get it out there, and sometimes it's like, okay, when will it be clever to make it out, to actually put it out on the market. So I think we will do that. Choice. We will decide this when we have things ready, actually. Yeah. So, but not very early next year.
And finally, as I said, you really affected me when I first saw you. You know what I mean? It was quite impressive. You know what I mean? Like, especially with that big subwoofer, you know, in Cologne.
Yeah.
What are your bands that you've seen that have really affected you when you've seen them? Have like a moment when it's just sort of been you.
Like lately, the last band, it was like normally not the kind of thing I listen very much to anymore. But when I saw Behemoth at Wacken, it was like, wow, it was amazing.
Same thing at Hellfest.
I thought that was just like it was really. I saw them also at Leprous, but when I saw them at Wacken, it was just like the sound was like absolutely perfect. Like the performance was stunning, and I felt they had really a nerve in what they were doing, and they really meant every single note in a way, and that's what I love with it.
Yeah.
So it's a long time since I grew very tired of I don't know, most extreme metal, because I think it's usually just the same kind of thing that comes out from everyone these days.
And I think what it tells is that, I mean, it doesn't have to be, I mean, the extreme in the way that everything has to happen all the
saw them at Hellfest, and when they finish, and it's like with that speech over the top,
yeah.
Getting chills on a blazing hot day.
That was great. And they have also a very theatrical, so much more than us actually.
You just need a mask or two and
a lot of
sigils.
Yeah, and a lot of burning crosses and
pyro and
the black confetti as well.
If somebody had like told me about their show, I would be completely uninterested with how they described it. Just sounds very pompous and theatrical. It's just but when I saw it, was just in a way, I don't know. I think I can feel much more now than before when people really mean what they're doing, like 100%. So I don't know. It may be something that I'm just imagining myself, but I think I start to recognize and learn.
Yeah, and of course it's a matter of taste, but I think that's a lot more important than playing perfectly and playing a lot of things. And being impressive.
I also saw Massive Attack in Manchester once, and it was really amazing. I remember it was one of my favorite shows. And the Gojira is always great.
It's been a long while now, but Porcupine Tree playing in Oslo or whatever. That's also. That's some time now.
I had like the perfect word in Norwegian, but I don't know the English version of it.
It is in setting then.
Jeg liker band som virkelig rendyrker i
like bands that makes the most out of very few ideas.
Just like
instead of just throwing everything together.
Maximize the impact.
Instead of adding layers upon layers upon layers upon layers with
like pure.
That's what I love with Gojira, for example. It's just it's hard. Most of the time just one riff from both of the guitars at the same time, but it's played like perfectly, but with 100% conviction.
Yeah, and not necessarily.
That's what I mean.
And not necessarily perfectly on time, but just perfectly within each other. If it's a bit on the back or a bit. But that's also things that we are thinking more about now when we're making things.
And I also love the bands where I can feel. So of course we added quite a lot of sub drops, etc.
As you also said, you felt them.
Especially at the start of your set. That's not cold.
Perfect.
What we're
trying to achieve.
What we always hear, it never fails. We always hear, it's really good, really loud, really loud. Always someone saying, commenting on it being very loud. But I think our sound engineer, he likes it loud. So, excellent.
Thank you so much. It's been an awesome interview.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Tusen tack.
Varsågod.